In war, the enemy is clear, but in life, in business, not so easy to identify. Any tips?
Well, first of all, that is not a true statement. And in war, the enemy is not always clear. Not at all. The enemy can be hard to identify. Very hard to identify. The enemy is going to use camouflage to conceal themselves. They're going to use deception to distract your attention. They're going to blend in with the friendly civilian and populace, and they're going to take advantage of your benevolence, right? In fact, the enemy is going to do absolutely everything in its power to obscure their position, to hide their purpose, to even mask their identity. So it is not easy to identify the enemy in combat, in war. So what you have to do is you have to control what you can control. Right? You got to be prepared. You've got to train. You've got to study. You've got to rehearse. You've got to remain vigilant. You've got to maintain discipline in everything you do so that when the enemy does reveal itself, you have the ability to outthink it, to outmaneuver, to outfight the enemy. And it's actually the same thing in business. Right? The enemy can be hard to identify. Your competitors aren't broadcasting their next move. You don't know what the market's going to do. You can't be certain about the next trend or the next downturn or the next bubble that's going to burst. You can't know those things. So you have to do the same thing. You have to control what you can control, which is you. You got to gather intelligence. You got to analyze the metrics that you can track. You got to train yourself and your team to be prepared for both the known and also be prepared for the unknown. Figure out what the likely contingencies are and have some plans to execute if those contingencies occur. Maintain discipline as an organization so that you have the flexibility and the responsiveness to maneuver effectively and efficiently when the unpredictable actually happens. So instead of suffering and falling apart in the chaos, you can take advantage of it and win. And that's business, and life is the same. The enemy is not always clear in life. It can be hard to tell who's going to try and bring you down or what is going to bring you down. There's distractions. There are things out there that will do you harm that are so camouflaged you can't see them at all. There are deceitful people. There are accidents that can occur and diseases that take root, and there's bad luck, and there's Murphy's Law, and there's times when it seems that the whole world is against you. The whole world is the enemy. And the same rules apply. Control what you can control. You train hard, learn, maintain the unmitigated daily discipline in all things. Train hard physically and mentally. Push yourself so hard that you become accustomed to the stress. You get used to it. Every day, make yourself stronger and faster and smarter and better so that when the enemy does finally climb out of the shadows and expose himself to you, you are ready. You are waiting. And you can relish in the opportunity to attack and fight and utterly decimate and destroy him.